this point, we are at public forum, and with all due respect to everybody here, Maureen had her hand up first at the beginning, so if you don't mind, you can come up, and then Mrs. Pickering, you had yours up afterwards, so we'll go there, and then we'll pick. Good evening.
It was good that you left public forum because it allowed everybody to take a deep breath.
Yeah.
If a friend of mine, their contract wasn't being renewed, I would have the same vigor and enthusiasm as my friends from MESPA. I guess in defense of Kim, because I felt like Kim was kind of thrown under the bus. It is her decision to hire and fire, but I guess I would say that there's always two sides to a story, and you know, I would hope that everybody would take that into consideration. I also, and it could be completely different in the academic world, but I've been in corporate for 20 years, and in corporate, if your contract isn't renewed, you hold a staff meeting. You do that. You hold a staff meeting and you tell your staff that you won't be here next year, or that you won't be here next week. I don't think that you have, it's the responsibility of the superintendent to do that, or VP of whatever in corporate. Like I said, maybe it's different in education, but I think that perhaps, and maybe she did, but if people found out through a posting, I'm not sure why. The other thing that I just wanted to say is that Ms. Schaefer-Hood was the principal when my daughter was at this school. And I had the same relationship with her as many of the MESPA people had with Mrs. Tatro. And I certainly understand how passionate they are about her and what she did. And I would feel the exact same way. But I do have faith in our superintendent to make the right decision. And I would hope that people would back her. I think that if that's the decision, then there are reasons that we don't know, and I understand you can't talk about, but I guess that's good enough for me to say that there were reasons why her contract wasn't renewed. So I guess I would say thank you for leading our ship and ensuring our kids will have the best education. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mrs. Pickering.
I'm not going to reiterate what was already said. I think Mr. Buckley was pretty eloquent, and I can more or less back what he's saying. What I have a problem with is, number one, I would love to see those notes that we're referring to. Is since the decision has been made, I understand that's all can go public now. I think everybody in this audience would like to see a copy of whatever that decision, first and foremost. And then I would like to throw out there the ability to retract your decision. I mean, I think everybody out here, it was nice that we have the MESPA members here talking, but I'm not going to acquiesce. I think all of us are pretty upset. My kids have been in the school system as well. I mean, I have a 14-year-old, 11-year-old, and an 8-year-old. My son's 8. You know, how many people could stand here and say that a principal knows every kid in the school's name? That's a lot. I mean, I don't want to sit here and rehash what we talked about, but I do take offense to some of the things about what was said here. You know, and I think you guys are hiding behind something, and I'm sick and tired of it. People here, I know you guys have legal issues, but you guys want people to come here. There's certain things in documentation that we have that says that you want public forum, you want everything. People come here, and then you shut the door. You don't give the information people are asking for. You don't, it's not a welcome situation for people to come here because you feel like you're defeated before you walk in this door. And you know what? I've had conversations with you about other things, Superintendent. And you know, I think people in this audience are sick and tired of hearing, I can't talk about it, I can't talk about it. You know what? Mrs. Tatro's been a great principal. And like everybody else in this room, we've had our differences. But you know what? My kids are all straight A students, and I think I have a lot to thank. I think I've heard to thank for most of it, for building that confidence level. And you know what? Nobody wants to accept what you're saying here, and I think it's a cop-out. Thank you.
Thank you. You in it? And then we'll go with you.
I'm going to be unpopular, I think, for a moment. My name is Jane Reggio. I live in Millville. I have a daughter who attends Millville Elementary School. I was involved with the Parents Association even before she was a student at Millville Elementary School because I, too, came to a community that said, I want a positive school. I've also been involved in educational administration for over 30 years. I will defend Ms. Shavers-Hood right. She has the hiring and firing. I will defend to my death her right to make hiring and firing decisions if you as a committee have given her that responsibility and it's in there. I also understand when a new person comes in, they have every right to bring in their personnel, their team, to make the place their vision. That's why you hired them. That's why parents were involved in the hiring of Ms. Shaverhood, to bring a vision of a regional school district, whatever that may be. We may disagree with her vision, whatever that may be, but she has a right, and we hired her, and she has the right, and we have no right to know about personnel decisions. We have no right. However, having said that, you also have some responsibilities. And that's what I think is missing. The responsibility to involve people, to let us know, what is the vision? What will the team look like? There may be personnel decisions that come in the future, but what does the team look like? And people referred, Mrs. Kirby referred to a document. I've never seen it. I am at meetings. I have been at your meetings. I have had some of you come up to me and said, support me. I want to run for the school committee. Will you sign my petition? I said, absolutely. And I have never spoken to you. Have never come back to me and said, here's what the school committee is doing, or here's what, how you can help us. Or, we are about, in the town of Millville, we are about to fight for our school system. I stayed until 1:30 in the morning. I stayed yesterday, even after the fact. I believe in that community. I believe it can make a difference, but I believe that override will not pass unless we all work together. And that's the piece that I'm frustrated with, the not working together. I learned about Mrs. Tatro's dismissal on the internet. And that is appalling to me. That is absolutely appalling. I have been involved in presidential searches and colleges and universities, and I have been the person who has had to fire or non-renew a contract. My husband has been a person who has not had his contract renewed because a new athletic director came in and wanted to bring in his or her people. It happens. I get it. But in doing so, those people usually share their vision. So I appreciate that we're going to get that. I appreciate that we're going to get the opportunity to have some people involved, but that communication can be ongoing. It can be ongoing at things like the variety show. It can be ongoing at things like town meeting. I mean, I know that some of you were there till 1:30, but not all of you were there. I mean, some of you I've never seen before except at these meetings. We have a small community. We need conversation. We need communication. We need personal interaction. And that's the piece that's missing. I understand the woman who spoke earlier who said she has some personal interactions with the superintendent, and I think that's wonderful, but a lot of us don't and are willing to if we're simply asked, but we're not asked. We're told. And that's my concern. Not my concern that you made a decision. The decision is done. I don't think it should be revisited. It's done. Let's move forward, but let's move forward together. That's all I'm asking.
Thank you. Shoot, you were next, and we'll go there, and then we'll come over here. Hi.
I'm Erin Bonaco. I'm from Millville. I currently have 3 children in the school. I will someday have 4. First, Mr. Singleton, you gave us a few minutes ago the permission to tell you when we think you're wrong, and I want you to know I think you're doing something wrong.
Okay.
I have my thoughts on paper, so I am simply going to let you have them. It is very upsetting, and I'm sure you're getting that vibe in the room tonight. To see this, the way it happened is not acceptable. I disagree with the last mom that came up here. I do believe that this should be revisited. You said you cannot speak on the issue, and so I am not going to ask you for any answers. I am simply going to ask all of you to revisit this issue and to revisit the decision and review this as a board and reconsider this contract for Mrs. Tatro. You have silence, so like I said, I don't want an answer, but it does show denial. And the way the issue is being handled, it disturbs me and many others. Obviously, they're here in the room too, and there were many people that signed that petition that cannot be here, but they wish they could. It creates a huge elephant in the room. It creates distrust, it creates negativity, and it crushes the spirit. And it's not just the spirit of the parents sitting here, because you wait until the children find out. That is going to be a bad day. Our school is bright and welcomed, and it's a home for our children. They feel safe and they are welcome behind those four walls. Mrs. Tatro has been their leader. She is a mentor and she is a prominent member of our community. And many other prominent members of our community signed those petitions. They stand behind her. In fact, I had 3 of them tell me they were on the hiring committee 10 years ago. Not a year ago, not 4 years ago, 10 years ago. To remove her without reason is unjust and unfair, and you are leaving us broken. And I hope every person behind me also requests this decision be revisited. It just simply cannot be a final decision. There are too many questions left unanswered. And I know this has already been touched on, but I'm going to say it anyway.
That's okay.
It's an awful time to do this to us. You just came into our town and asked for something that is going to be almost virtually impossible for our community. If something isn't broken, you don't need to fix it. This is going to take time, money, and effort that none of us have. And I want to emphasize on the money because we don't have it. And the last thing I'll leave you with, which was also already touched on, is this report that came home. I received 3 of them, 1 for each of my children. Just re-verifying what was said, that the Millville Elementary AYP results are above the levels. And it states simply on here, and it's signed by you, Mr. Superintendent, as a result of these determinations, Millville Elementary School is not identified for improvement, corrective action, or restructuring. And I look at this as a form of restructuring. So once again, I will ask you to revisit and change this decision for my kids, for every kid in that building, and for the staff. The staff in that building where my children are every day, the teachers, administrators that are caring for my children should be able to speak freely.